That is called the waddle. Welcome back to the Extra Point. We got a very special episode for you guys today. We're going to be teaching our big sports guy, Anthony, about the National Football League, also known as the NFL. So, Brian, let's start it off. How many teams are there in the NFL?
Well, there's 32 teams in the NFL, and this has changed over the years. We started with less, and then they started to add more teams because more money. So these teams are split between the NFC and the AFC, the two conferences, which means National Football Conference and American Football Conference.
Why is one national and one American?
Because they were different entities at the time, and they kind of came together to become the NFL type of deal.
Gotcha.
They merged.
Yeah, they joined. They had little babies, and the little babies are named the NFC North, East, South,
so it's
West.
like the NWO and the NWO Wolfpack.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you got it.
Ball.
And AFC North, East, South, and West.
Gotcha.
Within those, there's 4 teams in each, totaling 32. And within each of these little divisions, you have one team winning that division and getting a free ride to the playoffs.
Gotcha.
And then there's also wild card teams that 3 teams within the NFC and 3 teams within the AFC can also make the playoffs without winning their division.
So it's like the best 3 records of an NFC or AFC team that didn't win their division.
But
So,
isn't the whole point of the playoffs the best team wins? So if they're not the best team, why are they making it?
Well, great question. Because let's
money?
say that this is the NFC playoffs, and let's say that the Bears are the 1 seed,
Okay.
the Cowboys are the 2 seed,
That says Cowboys, but I'll roll with it.
the Bucks are the 3 seed.
Okay.
And give me an NFC.
Let's see. Let's get the 49ers.
The Niners.
Seed. Let's give them,
And let's say that the Niners, despite winning their division, finished with an 8-9 record. Because they added a game into the NFL because they wanted more money.
Of course.
Which is a common theme for the NFL.
Of course.
they love money
They're-
like Mr. Krabs.
So let's say the Bears, finished 14-3 because they're so good.
That's like, they should get more wins, honestly. I think 15-2.
And let's say that
The Bears.
the Lions, who are in the same division as the Bears, they went 12-5. Is that the correct math? Yeah, 12-5. So they're still better than the Niners,
Okay.
but they didn't win their division.
Got
So they
it.
get a wild card spot.
Okay.
That make sense?
Sort of.
So just the 3 next best teams, they
Right.
make the playoffs.
Okay.
Moving on from teams, let's get into the phases of the game. Why don't we?
Okay, now there's one thing that sticks out to me.
Yes.
The first one under offense. It's rim heavy.
Run
Now,
heavy.
Run heavy. Okay. I was going to say, what do we mean by rim heavy? Like,
Well-
where are we exactly going there?
There's certain actions that an individual can take on. I'm just going to move on. So a run heavy offense relies mostly on the running game, which would run through a running back with maybe a fullback, a lot of 2 tight end sets,
Right.
which would be 21 personnel or 22 personnel if you have a fullback and 2 tight ends out there.
Now, Anthony, football and offense, you didn't say this before. So when
Okay.
you're on offense, you can either pass the ball, so
Okay.
that means the quarterback who throws
Right.
the ball
He throws it.
throws it to a
different
receiver,
guy, right?
Okay. Or
Or
you can run the ball.
Oh, damn! I was gonna guess.
Oh, okay. Go
All right,
ahead.
well,
Go ahead.
well,
I'll
All
let you
right,
cook.
you're gonna
Go
let me
ahead.
guess. All right. This is a tough one, guys. This is a really tough one. I'm really not sure what he could be. He could do a lot of things. But I think he could also run it.
Right. Who would
Great.
run it? Like, who do you
Who would
think?
run it?
Like, what position player? What would you think?
I think it's the QB who runs it.
That could happen.
It could.
But there's
It
also
could.
another
There is.
position that primarily runs the ball.
There's the dude he like throws it to or whatever.
Oh, well, he hands it off.
Hands it off. Sure.
Yeah. Hey, you want to show a demonstration? You want to be quarterback?
Yeah.
Do that,
I'll be the
So
running back.
I get the snap from
Okay.
the center,
Center.
and then I have the ball ready, and here comes the running back, nice and slow, and he gets the ball.
Boom.
And he runs right behind the next positions we'll cover, the
That's
offensive
crazy.
lineman. Here we have our positions down here, Luke, if you want to break
Okay.
down the offensive positions.
So offense. So offensive ball, defensive of the ball, and special teams, all 11 players. Okay?
Okay.
11 players on both sides of the ball. So first you got the
Naturally.
quarterback. This is like the leader of the team. They
Right.
throw the ball, they call the plays. If your team does not have a good quarterback, you're probably not going to win.
I mean,
Right.
give or
Most
take
of the
some things.
time. Then you got the running back.
The 2018 Bears would beg to differ.
Yeah.
Then you got the running back. It's the person, like we said before, runs the ball. Now, this is split into 2 different positions, a halfback and a fullback. So a fullback will be used in like an I formation. So I formation would be like, say you're the running back, right? Brian would be the fullback, and then I would be the quarterback. You'd line up like this. And so if I want to hand off to the fullback, I'd hand off to Brian. Or I could hand off to you, the running back, and Brian lays someone out, normally a linebacker, and then you
Got it.
run
and
and
I
you score a
take it.
touchdown.
Boom. Okay.
Okay, so halfback, running back. It makes sense?
Right. Sure.
Okay, they got tight end.
Okay.
So this guy receives the ball and also blocks.
Okay.
It's like an offensive lineman that's skinnier and is sort of athletic, but too slow to be a wide receiver.
Okay.
And a wide receiver, what do you think a wide receiver does?
They do some stuff.
They do a lot of things.
Of course,
they catch
naturally.
the ball.
Okay.
Receiver, receive
That's
the ball.
pretty important. That's a pretty important part.
They wear gloves, they receive the ball, okay?
Oh, damn, they got gloves. They're fancy now.
And then there's offensive linemen, and these guys
Now, I know a few other people who wore some gloves, but those gloves didn't really fit.
What are you referring to?
You know, I think you might know him. He played. He was a running back for the Buffalo Bills.
Are you talking about one of the best running backs to ever play in the NFL?
I think so.
You know,
Did he
he
also
ran-
happen to drive a Bronco?
You know, I think he ran for 2,000 yards one
Really?
season.
Yeah, no, he's pretty
He
good.
ran. Huh. Now that's an interesting statement right there. Now could Luca, could you read that out for the audience?
It says, the glove did not fit.
The glove did what? Did what?
Did not.
It did not fit.
And that's our
Okay,
full
you hear
statement
that?
on the situation.
Okay.
Allegedly.
That's all we have to
Allegedly.
say. Allegedly.
But let's finish the offense here. So offensive line is 5. These are the big boys, okay? These are the guys that protect the quarterback, running back, tight end, everybody. If your offensive line stinks, it's just like if your quarterback stinks, you're not winning any football games. Now, Brian, you're the resident offensive lineman. You played in high school. Give me a little teaser and explain, Anthony, what the offensive line does.
So there's 3 different positions in the offensive line. The first one is the center. The center is the one that gets the ball to the quarterback. So he'll be down in his stance. He'll have the ball here.
He's
he'll
real
snap
down and
it.
dirty in there.
Oh, he's real down and dirty, and the quarterback will either be right under his butt, ready to get the ball from him, or he'll be a little bit further behind him, what they call shotgun formation, where the quarterback's
Shotgun?
behind. Kinda.
Sort of.
Not really.
Okay.
But he'll be a little bit further behind, so the quarterback kind of already has that gap between him and the defense.
Okay.
So that's the center. Right next to the center are 2 guards. Guards are the interior guys, are the brawlers, they're the guys that are getting down and dirty. They're directly next to the center.
Okay.
And then what some people consider the most important position on the offensive line are the tackles, especially the left tackle, since most quarterbacks are right-handed. They'd be protecting the quarterback's blind side from the elite edge rushers that the NFL deals with. It's the easiest path to the quarterback, just going around one guy rather than getting stuck in the traffic in the middle. So you have the tackles to protect the quarterback from that. They're typically a little bit more athletic. They're in their drop stance. They're just protecting the quarterback with a lot of space around them. So those are your 3 positions in the offensive line. What I think is the most important part of a football team, at least on the offensive side of the ball.
Absolutely. And let's transition to the defensive side. So, Brian, would you give me the marker?
Of
Por favor?
course.
Thank you, sir. So here we go. So we got the offensive line, okay? So the defense is kind of like a similar thing. So normally there's 4 defensive linemen. So you got a guy here, we'll put X for the defensive players. So normally a team rocks with 4, okay? So these 2 guys in the middle, defensive tackles. These are
Okay.
the biggest guys on the defense.
Hold on, can I see the marker real quick?
Absolutely.
Hold on, hold
Go
on.
ahead, go ahead.
I just got it. Tic-tac-toe.
Oh, he's so good. Oh my God.
That was
you were
all.
close.
Diagonal. That was good. That was good. I put 4 in a row. You can't do that. That's
You
not
really
how
could-
we
that's
do
You
it.
illegal.
left the space,
You
though.
can't even
I know.
have
You didn't
one.
line 'em
There's
up over
not even
center.
4 boxes.
Yeah.
Come on.
You didn't line 'em up over
Sometimes
center.
you have a nose tackle,
Okay.
but when you have 5 offensive linemen,
Defensive
then
linemen.
that's or defensive
And that's
linemen,
when you get
obviously.
tic-tac-toe.
That's
That's when you get tic-tac-toe.
Got it.
But
Okay.
Normally here you have 4 or 3, okay? And they have these guys called linebackers, okay? So normally you have 3. These guys are huge with stopping the run. So when the running back runs the ball and the fullback runs the ball, their job is, these guys are the best tacklers on the football field. Okay? Then you got the cornerbacks. These guys cover the wide receivers. This
Okay.
is the hardest position to play, arguably, in all sports, because you're backwards, right? And you're covering a guy's running full speed that's probably as fast as Olympic, 100-meter dasher,
Right.
and you have no idea where he's going.
And you don't
you
really
can't
get
grab
plays
him.
off either.
And you
Fun.
can't push him.
Fun.
If you
you
look
guys
at him a
sit,
funny
you
way,
guys sit
can't
there
do
and
that.
take it.
Yes.
I would even argue that there's different kinds of wide receivers and there's different kind of cornerbacks. The wide receiver is playing kind of on the inside, not totally out wide. He's kind of in the mess of things. That's called a slot receiver. And the
Okay.
guy that covers him is a nickel cornerback. Now the nickel, they need to be able to tackle because, like I said, they're kind of in the mishmash of everything. They might have to cover a tight end. There's bigger guys they need to tackle. So they are covering a more difficult space. And they also need to be able to hit harder.
Yeah.
They need to tackle. It's a tough position to play.
Very, very difficult. And to wrap things off, you got the strong safety and the free safety. So they line up in multiple ways. Sometimes they'll line up this way. Strong safety, normally better tackler. Free safety is like the last resort. So these guys normally aren't covering people. They're normally there for safety. If the corner gets beat, if the linebacker gets beat, if all these guys can't tackle the running back when they run through, free safety saves the day. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and finally, we got special teams. This is a very important, part of the game. A lot of people don't underwrite it. Actually, let me ask you a question. What do you think the special teams do?
I mean, I assume they just sit there and look pretty.
That's literally 95% of their job.
Awesome.
So you got.
Don't underwrite the special teams
94,
guys.
94.
Listen,
94% of the time.
for the brand, man. Pat McAfee, the punter. Come on.
So let's talk about these guys. Special teams, okay? So again, there's 11 people on special teams. Okay, they're normally utilized on punting plays, kickoffs, and field goals. Okay. So you got the kicker.
So it's all your kickers.
The kicker. Okay. Every team has one kicker. That's it. They don't have a backup kicker. They don't waste their time with that.
Fair enough.
Okay. These guys.
And if the normal kicker gets injured, well, they're screwed.
Either the punter becomes the kicker, or sometimes some random safety becomes the kicker.
I thought you were gonna say some random fan becomes a kicker.
Oh, yeah,
like,
they
that would
pick
be
him out of the
really.
stands.
That would be great.
They find anyone that played high school soccer and they just pull them out of the stands.
I think every Super Bowl we should just get 2 or 3 random fans from the crowd to just play in random positions, just randomly.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a good time. So kickers kick field goals and do kickoffs. Okay. Brian, want to talk about punters?
Yeah, punters punt the ball if you're in bad field position. Let's say it's 4th down. We didn't mention that you get 4 downs in a football field to try to get the first down. If you're in a bad position for 4th down, you just send out your punter and he kicks the ball away to the other team. And when he's kicking the ball away, there's a punt return on the other side that tries to return the ball as far as he can. On the kickoffs, like we mentioned, the kicker, there's a kick returner that tries to do that. And the long snapper is the one delivering the ball to the punter when you're punting the ball. Now, I wish that we had more time to tell you more things since we have so much here to talk about, but let's end with the fact that the season never ends. Football's always ongoing, and that's why we're covering it here in the spring on Extra Point.
Ant will tune in again later on, and we'll teach you formations.
Of course. All right.
Stay tuned to Extra Point.
If I could go back and change it all, I would. I think I'm gonna miss you the most. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Or maybe it's just the little moments. If I could go back and change it all, if I could go back, I would. But I can't.
Christina from accounting.
Yeah, hi.
I used to date a girl named Christina.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then she dumped me for my best friend.
I thought we talked about this, buddy.
Buzzed and overshared again?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna call a car.
That's a smart idea.
Touchdown! Did you see that? Whoa, we scored? Yeah, we scored going to the playoffs. I can't believe I missed that.
Every time I'm buzzed, I spend too much time on my phone.
I should take your phone away.
No. I'll call for a ride.
Wait, why does my face look like that?
There was a time in my life where I was extremely homesick. I decided that I needed a pet. When I first saw a turtle, my heart was full. He jumped up and kissed me and jumped right into my arms. I immediately went up to the volunteers at the shelter and said, I want him. He's gotta come home with me. Now anything but lonely. Every day with Turtle is a perfect day and keeps me company when I'm doing schoolwork. I like it when he jumps up on the table too. He is a veggie thief. He's an incredible companion and my best friend. Can't say that I've met anybody that doesn't love him too. When I adopted Turtle, I discovered all the things that make him unique. He's a little bit of a lot of things, but mostly he's all pure love.
I don't want to talk about it.
I don't want to talk about it.
Families don't have to talk about everything, but they should talk about how to plan for an emergency. Get tips and resources to make your family's emergency plan.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made home ownership happen. Homeschooling yourself on loans, beefing up your credit score.
So I'm pre-approved.
You were like, yes! Sorry. Color coding listings, ticking boxes, and flushing every toilet in a 20-mile radius. Home sweet home. You aced house hunting. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to the Extra Point. Interesting segment of football we just had. We were teaching my man Anthony about some football. We're going to change over to a winter sport. From fall to winter, we're going to talk basketball, specifically the end of the college basketball season with March Madness, a little bit on the men's and women's side. Want to hear your guys' first takes. Go ahead.
I mean, that was a crazy buzzer beater that San Diego State had.
Yeah, Lamont
I was
Butler,
really
dog.
hoping they would pull through and break the pattern of having a blue blood school win every year. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. UConn crushed to win their 4th title.
Was it their 5th?
It's their 5th title.
Oh, their
5th title in
fifth.
25 years, under 3 coaches. You got Calhoun, the random one with Kevin Ollie, and now Danny Hurley.
And they're also just as good with women's basketball. Like, you
They're
can
even
make the
better.
argument that they're the best basketball school in the world.
I mean, it's craziest part about that women's team is this year is the first time they did not make the Final Four. Take a guess what year?
19.
No, I'll tell you it's not 19.
2005.
2007. It's the first time in 15 years they were not one of the top 4 teams in the country. That was, and then they got a player by the name of Maya Moore the next year, and the rest is history. All right, Connor, go ahead, man.
Well, I personally love the tournament. I thought it was great. UConn did totally dominant run throughout the whole thing. My personal favorite game, though, was San Diego State in the Final Four. I forget who they played against.
FAU.
FAU with the buzzer beater. That was electric.
As much as I love San Diego State, for me, the best game would have to be Fairleigh Dickinson beating the #1 seeded Purdue.
Agreed.
Going into that game,
Possible.
I teased my friend that they were going to win just because he had Purdue winning, and I just had this weird feeling that we were in for another crazy upset. And he was like, bro, there's no chance that they win. They're the 16 seed. But as the game progressed, it became more and more clear that we were in for an upset for the ages. And indeed, we were in for an upset of the ages. And it's just crazy to see that tiny 5'6" guard
Dimitri Roberts?
dominate players much bigger than him. And then they have like a 6'7" center. It's just such a great underdog story to see the smallest team in the league defeat the biggest big man in college basketball, who I believe to be the college equivalent of Boban Marjanovic.
Oh, he's better than Boban.
Who?
He's better than Boban Marjanovic, bro.
All right, who is Boban Marjanovic?
You don't know who Boban is?
I have no clue who that
He
is.
played for your Sixers.
All right, that's a topic for another day. We're going to
Bro,
stay on the college.
These sports analogies are getting out
All
of
right,
hand.
let's stay on the college basketball topic. We can talk NBA another day. Playoffs are next week. So UConn clearly the best team. I think it's going to be interesting to really see who stays on that team. If we look at guys like Jordan Hawkins, Andre Jackson, obviously the big man, Adama Sanogo, Donovan Clingan. How many of those guys are going to stay? How many of those guys are going to test the NBA draft? If we're talking way too early 2024, UConn's the #1 team. Any kind of thoughts for way too early 2024?
I don't know. They say anything can happen.
Anything
in March.
can happen.
So who even
Princess
is the
says anything's
favorite?
possible.
That is true.
But I mean, you can't bet against UConn. I mean, they won with multiple different coaches, so who's to say they can't win it again? I mean, obviously, I'd love to see one of those underdogs like Princeton, Florida Atlantic, or FDU come back. But every year, it seems to be a different underdog. It's just never the same team.
Oral Roberts, St. Peter's, Loyola Chicago, FDU. We're talking FAU, Princeton. You can think of some random school you never heard of. They're going to make a run. It just happens every year. It's a new thing now.
It's going to be Monmouth. I'm telling you, one of these years, we're going to make a run in March Madness.
Hey, you know what you just said? Anything's possible.
Anything's possible. I mean, hey, maybe the women's will make it someday. Who knows?
Who knows?
I think they have a better chance than the men's.
We'll see. Anyways, we're going to get onto the women's topic a little bit. Obviously, women's Final Four drew in historic numbers, 9.9 million viewers. That is the highest watched women's basketball game, period, ever. It's drawn more viewers than any Stanley Cup game, more viewers than the Orange, Sugar, and Cotton Bowl. I want to hear your takes on the Final Four and the national championship game.
I mean, it's definitely good to see a new milestone in women's sports. I mean, there was definitely a lot of controversy with those two women on LSU.
Or the Caitlin Clark, Iowa, Angel Reese, and then the technical foul kind of. Obviously, the officiating was just horrible. There's not much you can do about that. But overall, it's great to see that this is going this way. The game was obviously great. It's two high-level offenses, kind of what we expected.
Yeah, another thing was, you see at the end, Jill Biden, she said, what was it? Do both of you want to come?
Both of you want to come to the White House. I think that's I think that's total ridiculous. I get it.
That was whack.
But let's say San Diego, we weren't inviting UConn and San Diego State to the White House, or like we're talking Super Bowl. We're not inviting Eagles and Chiefs to the White House. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Obviously, I get why she's doing it. She wants to grow the game, make it more public, and that's kind of her role as the first lady to kind of empower women. I understand that, but I just think that's not that's just not the right place to make that
history
proposal.
Remembers the winners. There's just some perks that are only available to the champions.
LSU played a great tournament. They beat they did not beat South Carolina. I don't know why I said that. Iowa beat South Carolina. But anyways, yeah, they deserve it. They were the best team. I mean, they were 34-2 this year, so they deserve to be able to go to the White House.
I mean, I would absolutely agree. It just goes to show LSU, I mean, they're already dominant in football. They're dominant in basketball. That's obviously where Shaq went. I mean, all these SEC schools. Oh, yeah, Joe Shiesty. Like, all these SEC schools are just unreal at sports. And it's just, I just hope we get to see maybe some more, like, East Coast schools, because I feel like in recent memory.
We get to see a fair amount of UConn, Nova. There have actually been in the past few years, there's been a few Big East schools to win the tournament. We look at Villanova in 16-18. The 16 one I don't want to talk about as a Carolina fan. UConn. And then obviously I feel like every year there's a lot of these Big East schools. You talk Providence, who's kind of working their program up. Georgetown finally hiring Ed Cooley, trying to go that back in the right direction. And Rick Pitino at St. John's. The East Coast, this whole Northeast area is trying to become relevant in college basketball again. What are your kind of quick thoughts on that as we wrap up time here?
I mean, I think it's great to see it. I mean, it's unfortunate Jay Wright retired because he was one of the best Big East coaches, possibly the best of all time. But I agree with what you said on Georgetown. I just don't think Patrick Ewing knew what he was doing. So now that he's gone, they are a force to be reckoned with going forward.
All right, so thank you, everybody, for tuning in. That's all the time we have for today. Hopefully stay tuned where we're going to talk a little bit of Masters.
The birds are starting to chirp, the flowers are blooming, spring is in the air, and that means one thing. It's time to head down to Augusta for the Masters. Extra Points annual Masters coverage here, the best place to get Masters coverage here at Monmouth University. Jake Racino, Joe alongside me, Adam Healy, our resident golfer. Now listen, there's a lot of men on the field this year who can win the Masters. I got my picks. I got a couple long shots. Adam, I'm going to start with you, and I'm going to go into my reasoning.
All right, so I got kind of my long shot here. This is actually the guy I'm going to pick to win it. This is my guy I think favorite, in my opinion, to win it. Guy who's younger, fair amount of success in the majors. Guy that I looked at his number, his odd numbers, it kind of surprised me at 33-1. That's Willie Z.
Willie Z.
Will Zalatoris.
Will Zalatoris, big Zalatoris guy.
Played Augusta twice, T6 a year ago, 2021, runner-up behind Hideki. And then obviously not a great week at match play last couple weeks ago. Just kind of had a struggled week. Had to withdraw from the final match. But 2022, lost in the playoff to JT at the PGA. Lipped out for that playoff at the U.S. Open up at the Country Club. Lost to Fitzpatrick. Top 25 every major a season ago. I think guy who loves this kind of spotlight. I think he's kind of due for it. He guys does.
A couple guys I want to talk about. Jordan Spieth's my first pick. Jordan
like
Spieth, the 2 times he's ever played on Easter Sunday, he's won both those tournaments. He's won Augusta before 8 years ago. Could be due again. But another thing I want to look at here, if you look at Augusta the last couple of years and the winners, the winner is always the guy who's ranked number 1 in approach. We saw Hideki win it a few years ago. He was number 1. We saw Scotty win it last year. He was number 1. Sergio Garcia, when he won it, he was number 1. Who's number 1 this year? Colin Morikawa.
As I said, that's not
Colin Morikawa has been getting better and better each time
every
this
year.
And I feel like he's due. I feel like he's like something about Morikawa. I like Morikawa. I like Spieth. Scotty, the odds-on favorite. To win Masters 2 times in a row. Hasn't happened since Tiger did it 20 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say.
But if he does win it, are we officially calling Scotty the next Tiger? If he follows in the steps and wins Masters,
I see where you're going. I think we still got a ways to go. I think he's got.
We got a ways to go.
I mean, he has been dominant. Don't get me wrong. I think a couple more wins, couple more majors.
The consensus number 1 golfer.
I mean, we're talking Tiger. I remember seeing this crazy stat. So it was the last WGC a couple weeks ago, match play. No player has successfully ever defended a WGC minus Tiger Woods. Guess how many times he did it?
4.
8. Yeah. I don't think we're getting anywhere close to that at this point.
No, but Scotty's still young.
I know
Scotty's still young. He's been nothing but winning in his time here in the PGA. But another thing I want to talk about, PGA this, PGA that. This isn't a PGA event. This is a golf event.
It's a golf
So you know what that means.
We got the LIV guys.
LIV Tour.
Yeah.
And with the LIV Tour, most of those players, they're kind of washed. But there's a few players who can turn some heads this tournament. And one of those players I want to talk about is Brooks Koepka. When Brooks Koepka is healthy, he's one of the best golfers in the world. Just won the LIV event in Orlando either this past weekend or 2
It was
weeks
this past weekend.
This past weekend. Shot 15 under. Brooksy's healthy. Watch out for Brooksy.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is that kind of surprises, like the feud between them is present. I just think the media is making it a lot more than it really seems.
Do you know what would be perfect? If we get a group, we have Tiger and Phil in the same tee time.
That would have been hilarious.
That would be electric.
I mean, literally, we had the, I don't know if you saw the Monday practice around tee time. It was originally supposed to be Bryson, Tiger, Tom Kim, and Fred Couples playing together. And then Bryson, they ended up kicking Bryson out and replacing him with Roy.
Bryson kind of doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, no. I think
Bryson. He doesn't have it anymore.
I think once he got a little bit more focused on like the long drive and going into the long drive stuff, I think that really did. For a while, it was a big success for him. Obviously, he won that U.S. Open in there, but it just really hasn't helped him a lot.
How to change the game of golf?
It did. He tried. He's trying to play this as a par 67.
Yeah.
He still has no regrets about that comment he made 3 years ago.
But talking about some of the odds, obviously Scotty and Rory as the odds-on favorites is 7-1. Not the biggest fan of Rory. Rory, I don't think he has it.
I can see where you're going. I feel like he struggles with Augusta, but the problem is the golf course suits him so well. I feel like is he going to win one? Hopefully, eventually. I just don't think this is the year.
I don't think this is the year. Another guy I don't think is quite winning Augusta this year is Jon Rahm.
I agree with you
Probably
on
the
that,
number 2 golfer in the world, Jon Rahm. Don't think he has what it takes this year. A couple of the LIV guys I want to talk about. DJ at 25-1, Cam Smith at 28-1, Brooksy at 44-1. Yep. I have a long shot though. Someone that a big guy, a big fan of, Keegan Bradley, 130-1.
New England guy. Yeah.
Keegan Bradley for the brand. And I mean, how can we talk about Augusta if we're not talking Tiger Woods?
Obviously.
70-1. Does he even make the cut?
I think he can make the cut. He made the cut at the Genesis, if we look at that. And I think it's a 91 player field, and it's like, what is it, 50 that make the cut? Like, so more than half the field makes the cut. I think, and you're looking at some of these former champions that are 65 years old at the bottom of the field. I think he can get through to the weekend. I don't know how much further he gets after that.
So your official pick, Will Zalatoris?
I got Willie Z, and then I got Colin Morikawa, top 20. Hideki, top 20. Tom Kim, top 20. If you're not confident on Willie Z winning, take Willie Z plus 10. That's my parlay for you.
So I don't have a parlay, but 2 guys I would feel comfortable picking for winning. Jordan Spieth, Colin Morikawa. That's going to do it. We're going to be back after the Masters. Give you guys a little, see who was right, see who was wrong, see the best pick, see who was just completely wrong. Because you know what? A bad take is better than no take at all. That's going to do it for this week at Extra Point. Stay tuned.